So what are the questions microeconomics seeks to answer? Here's some of the key ones. 1, how does a market actually work? And within the market, how do we arrive at prices? How are prices determined? What level of output does a firm produce? And how does it go about choosing its level of output? How do companies go about charging for a good and pricing it accordingly? And then how do consumers determine how much of a good they will buy? We ask the question, can government policy affect business behavior or influence it? And in addition to that, can government policy influence consumer behavior? We also consider a number of the trade-offs. So for consumers, for instance, they have a limited amount of income. How do they go about making decisions as to what they're going to spend their income on and how much of their income they should save? Workers, on the other hand, face similar constraints because they've got a limited amount of time. How do they decide whether to work or whether not to work? And if they're working, how do they go about deciding as to how many hours they must put in every single week? That's a trade-off between labor and leisure. Companies also face very specific limits. For instance, what kind of products are they going to produce? What resources are available for them to produce those products? And then if you take a look at economies as a whole, they're structured differently. So you might have a centrally planned economy where prices are set by the government, or in other countries you have market economies where prices are determined by interactions between consumers, the workers, and the companies. So all these issues come in when we ask key questions about economics, and we simply try and build models that allow us to answer those questions. So traditionally, we would look at economic resources and speak about land, where you can generate rent, labor, you get paid your wages. If you've got capital, you generate interest or some form of return. And if there's an entrepreneurial activity, you may be able to generate profits. That's changing somewhat with the application of intellectual property and technology. We'll also answer questions that look at self-interest versus social interest, and some controversial or contentious issues countries have to deal with. Issues relating to privatization, globalization, corporate scandals, unemployment, deficits and debts. Those issues, those questions have a fundamental impact on people's quality of life.